Welcome back, everybody, to Orange Hat. And today we are going to be discussing favorite movie stories as part of the month of February, which are favorite video games stories. This was the original thumbnail that I had for Assassin's Creed, The Life of Desmond Miles, but I switched it over to this one because, well, this one also includes Connor Kenway, which is more accurate to what I wanted to do, because Connor Kenway also was one of Desmond Miles' ancestors. So we're going to be talking about that. That's one of my favorite movie storylines. And, well, yeah, I also wanted to show off this beauty. It is the Assassin's Creed logo on one of my rings. And, yeah. So, I got that a while back. But Assassin's Creed has always been fascinating to me. And yes, I even have my hood up like an assassin. So yeah. So one of the things I enjoyed about it, I played the games. I played the Assassin's Creed 1, 2, Brotherhood, Revelations. I didn't play the Connor Kenway one or part 3 because did I? No, I didn't. That one I didn't play because I wasn't able to at the time. But I was able to play the other original 4 of them, and I thoroughly enjoyed them. And well, here's the thing. I got my orange thingy here, so yeah. Couldn't get past Jerusalem mission on one. The games were hard if you don't know how to play them. I mean, believe me, it was a tough slog learning. I never could do the 100% synchronization. I sucked at it, especially in Revelations. I really sucked at that one. But the stories were so compelling that it's like when they did that interesting Assassin's Creed movie, as shit as it was a box office bomb. I still liked it, or like it to a degree. I might actually watch it later today. But I still think that the story and the life of Desmond Miles is actually quite an interesting one, because when you think of it, this dude was literally had all the right genes in order to give the world a fighting chance against an apocalypse. So yeah, this guy, he gains the knowledge of his ancestors, Ezio, or not Ezio, this one's Altair ibn Lahad. And then you have Ezio Auditore de Firenze, and also later on, the memories of Connor Kenway, or Rochmanaton, or Rochmanaton. I cannot pronounce the word to save my life. I'm sorry, folks. But yes, Altair may be one of the cooler and most wiser of the assassins, which is awesome. Dude goes out like a boss. And a lot of people are like, oh, he goes out in a blaze of glory. When I say like a boss, the dude, he goes to his death willingly, not to fight. He literally allows himself just to pass away and whatnot. And you also get let's see here, Ezio Auditore de Firenze. He is the most spiritually and most aware of Desmond's. He is the most aware of Desmond's destiny, so to speak. He is the most aware and he's also the most skilled. No joke, folks. I actually looked this up. It turns out that Ezio Auditore de Firenze is one of the most interesting and most famous video game characters in history. No joke. This guy right here, Altair, or not Altair, but Ezio. He is the most, yeah, he is considered the most famous video game character in video game history because his character or the stories surrounding the Ezio trilogy are so profound. Now, I will always say never get your history from Hollywood or from video games. There are some, or these games take place during historical moments in history, the Crusades, during Altair's time, the Renaissance era during Ezio's lifetime, and then the American Revolution during Connor Kenway's lifetime. And yes, you will see characters like Leonardo da Vinci in the shows. You will also see characters like George Washington. Now, I don't have Leonardo da Vinci I considered important enough to have an overlay because he's one of my favorite historical figures. Leonardo da Vinci was a perfect choice to incorporate into the Assassin's Creed games with Ezio, due to the fact that his designs, his inventions, besides just painting, he was more than just a painter. The man created designs for flying machines that were far ahead of his time. Some of what we use today in our military, like automatic bridges, fold-up bridges and whatnot, the original designs are from Leonardo da Vinci. So yes, somebody who was radically that ahead of his time, it makes sense to put in the Ezio trilogy where he creates a firearm, the assassin firearm, or rather rediscovers it because it's later shown in Revelations that Altair also created a one-shot firearm where Leonardo da Vinci actually managed to create a multi-functioning firearm for the assassin or for the hidden blade. Then you also get the hook blade, which if you look on this one in or near the hidden blade, you see this little hook thing here. I love that bit too when he goes to Constantinople. And the stories are really do work nicely. Altair is a master assassin at very young, but he flouts the creed. The three tenets of the creed is you do not harm innocents, you do not compromise the brotherhood, and what's the other one? 3 rules of assassins. Right. Stay your blade from the flesh of the innocent. Hide in plain sight. Never compromise the brotherhood. And Altair, he completely flouts them. He completely just says, you know what? I don't give a shit. And he uses one of the tenets of the brotherhood, which is everything is permitted. So, yeah, he misunderstands those tenets. So Altair is then stripped of his rank and has to earn his way back into the Assassin's Brotherhood, essentially, because originally he was supposed to die. Due to the complete breaking of the three tenets of the assassins, is he was supposed to be killed. However, he wasn't. Al-Mualim, the traitorous Grand Master of the Order, that later is discovered that he betrayed the entire Order and grew drunk with power with one of the pieces of Eden, the Apple of Eden. yeah, it turns out that, well, he had to die. And Altair had to make some hard decisions. Back then, burning a person's body was completely forbidden. And, well, his justification was, look, we don't know if this is one of his phantoms or his illusions. We need to ensure that he is dead. This man just used an artifact that is, at that time, considered divine power. So, yeah, Altair had to make the hard choice of destroying Al-Mualim's body. And then later on, or I like in the first game, he meets a female Templar who later leaves the Templar Order to become his wife. And during the second game with Ezio, you get a couple flashbacks or through the bleeding effect with Desmond Miles, where Desmond's actually is like, wait, am I following Altair now? I thought I was on with Ezio. And then he meets up with her, and the end of that sequence shows Altair moving off, and he's like, wait, I thought I was following Altair. Oh. I'm like, oh yeah, oh man. Because it zooms in on her abdomen or womb, essentially, because at that point, Altair has passed on his legacy to another, or bloodline wise. So Altair, or so the bloodline was passed on. Now, Altair also had two sons, one in which was murdered by the assassins. Abbas, which was one of his Altair's friends, took over the order after Altair was serving it. But after his son was killed, he's like, look, I want to know what happened to my son. And, well, one of the assassins that was second to Abbas, who was now the head of the order, he straight up admits to killing his son or having his son killed. And he also told Altair that he made his son think that Altair that his father ordered his death. Altair then lashes out, but his wife gets stabbed by the guy that he goes after, but she stops him and he stabs her, and then Altair just hidden blades that dude right in the neck. Now, one of the things that the assassins always did, and I'll show in this, is if you look at his hidden blade hand, it doesn't really show it here, but you will notice that the time of Altair, this was a common thing, having only 4 fingers, because the hidden blade would come up through off of the wrist, would come up through the middle finger or the ring finger for stabbing and assassination. So they would give up their ring finger, not only as devotion, but for the practicality of the hidden blade. Now, during Ezio's lifetime, they made improvements upon the design, where Altair gave improvements in the codex pages. So Altair's legacy lives on into Ezio's time, and Leonardo da Vinci was able to translate the stuff and also give him a poison blade and the firearm hidden blade thing. All great little things. The games themselves are interesting because you are going through places like Florence, Rome, Jerusalem, Accra. You are going through it's an open world gameplay. And that is something that is also extremely interesting, because I like the open world gameplay because of how wide spread it is. Favorite Assassin's Creed, Desmond Miles. I wish Desmond didn't get killed off. Well, he went out in the best way possible, man. He definitely went out in the best way possible. He saves the world. Essentially, he gives the world a fighting chance because otherwise the sun would have cooked the planet. Like John Wick, yeah. But we continue on to the Connor Kenway storyline, and during this time, kick. All right, what's going on here? Oh, yeah, the internet kind of conked out. I'm sorry about that, folks. But yes, Altair eventually flees Masyaf, which is the home of the assassins. And he comes back as an old man and then becomes head of the order. But he also knows that there is a danger looming due to the Templar forces. And the Mongols were coming for Masyaf. And so then we get, let's see here. The end of Revelations is actually one of my favorite moments. This moment where Ezio comes across the body of Altair ibn La'ahad. And you can also see in this photo, Altair's hidden blade also has the firearm down by his arm, right to the left of the screen, the skeleton here. You could see the firearm mechanic on Altair, who was living during the Crusades, which was a little after 1000 AD, going into the 1100s. So 500 years later, Ezio comes in and he finds an apple of Eden. And he's like, no, you're going to stay where you are. I've seen enough for one, or I've learned enough for one lifetime. Ezio is one of my favorite characters also because he knows when there's too much knowledge. One should not have too much knowledge, especially if it is that open to them. He understands the folly of shortcuts to knowledge. And so he leaves an apple of Eden in the vault, but the apple immediately activates to record what is going on, and he immediately calls out to Desmond. He's like, Desmond, I've heard your name before, although I don't know why. And then he goes into this speech, which I will share with you all. All right, let's see here. Also, I do apologize for any sound in the background. That's just the way it is. But you got I have two quotes here by Altair, or not Altair, but Ezio Auditore de Firenze. The first one, he was explaining to his future wife, Sophia Sartor, when she asks what the creed is. Nothing is true, everything is permitted. And here is the full creed. Where other men blindly follow the truth, remember, nothing is true. Where other men are limited by morality or law, remember, everything is permitted. And so this is the explanation from Ezio himself. To say nothing is true is to realize that the foundations of society are fragile and that we must be shepherds of our own civilization. To say that everything is permitted is to understand that we are the architects of our actions and we must live with consequences, whether glorious or tragic. And then later on in the in Altair's, essentially his tomb and his library, he speaks directly to Desmond. I have lived my life as best I could, not knowing its purpose, drawn forward like a moth to a distant moon. And here at last I discover a strange truth, that I am only a conduit for a message that eludes my understanding. Who are we who have been so blessed to share our stories like this, to speak across centuries? Maybe you will answer all the questions I have asked. Maybe you will be the one to make all this suffering worth something in the end. And it's an absolute brilliant bit of storytelling. This, or where he is the most aware. Ezio, out of all of out of the different ancestors of Desmond Miles, Connor Kenway, Altair. I mean, Altair also knows much of the future too, but he never spoke directly to Desmond. And so, yeah, Altair is also known as the greatest assassin. There's one that female chick in a later game, I can't remember her name. They all say she's the most powerful assassin. Well, Ezio is the greatest assassin. Where Altair is the wisest, Ezio is the greatest. And Connor Kenway, he's more of a footnote, but he was an interesting character himself. The story of Assassin's Creed 3 was interesting. This is Connor Kenway. His name, or his native name, was Rachmaninoff or something like that. I cannot pronounce it at all. And his father was an assassin who was born, or who was taken into the Templars, or by the Templars, Haytham Kenway, because his father, Edward Kenway, was killed by the Templars, and he was raised by the Templars later on. So yes, Haytham Kenway was indeed, or he has a hidden blade, and he's also later killed by his son. And he also has a good quote too. He's like, don't expect a teary-eyed confession. Don't expect any sentimentality. Although I will say that I am proud of you. The strength of your convictions and whatnot, I am proud of you. And then he dies. It really is a powerful moment where Connor Kenway has to learn the tenets of the Assassin's Order. And as I said, the Revolutionary War period for Connor Kenway and his involvement in it, you see George Washington, Samuel Adams, Paul Revere. They actually do get something that is historically accurate. When Paul Revere does his midnight ride, he does not yell out, "The British are coming. The British are coming. The British are coming." That is actually a mistake. They actually get it right in the game. The regulars are coming. The regulars are coming, which is what the colonialists or the colonists called the British, the regulars. Because if you think about it, all of the colonists were British. Yeah, George Washington, Samuel Adams, all of them were British. So why would somebody yell out, "Oh, the British are coming, the British are coming"? No, the regulars are coming, the regulars are coming. That was the actual line that Paul Revere did during his midnight ride. Now, no, he didn't ride side saddle bitch with Connor. No, he did it himself in actual history. There wasn't a guy that was riding him through the towns on a fucking horse. He rode himself on the damn horse, man. I mean, one thing that I do like about different shows like Ichabod, or that Headless Horseman show, Ichabod Crane, where he is in the future and whatnot. And they have different things about like Betsy Ross, where she was actually secretly or more secretly involved with the revolution, where she's actually on that famous painting of the crossing of the Rubicon, but they changed it because she wasn't allowed there, or they didn't want to put a woman on there or something like that. Absolute hogwash. But that show was interesting in a way because it had all sorts of different things, like the Headless Horseman which is also an actual Horseman of the Apocalypse. But getting back to the Revolutionary War bit, where this game with Connor Kenway and Haytham Kenway, you begin the game as Haytham Kenway. And he's using an assassin's hidden blade and whatnot, but you think that he's an assassin. But after the introductory gameplay, which, by the way, is over 2 hours in the official Assassin's Creed series YouTube channel, they show 100% synchronization through all the gameplays and they do them extremely fast, so I didn't have to go through like 12 to 18 hours of gameplay for these damn things. But this one, it was 10 hours long because it was a lot more bigger in scope and whatnot. But Haytham and Charles Lee are essential, or he's welcoming Charles Lee into the Order of the Templars. And this shakes Desmond because Desmond's with his estranged father at this point. He had also killed one of his friends who turned out was planning to betray them. But Lucy, her character from the first game and the second game, I don't have the overlays. I'm sorry, folks. I have only 13 overlays for this. Otherwise, it overtaxes my my signal here. Believe it or not, it takes up space. But Lucy was basically she was an assassin, trained as an assassin, but she did turn into a Templar. She was a double agent, so to speak, for the Templars. And so one of the first civilization people, Minerva, makes Desmond kill her with his assassin's blade. And that ends the second game, or the second Ezio game, that ends Brotherhood, rather, because the first one, which is the Ezio, or the first Ezio game, you see Minerva talking, and it's like, this message is for you, Desmond. And it ends with him being like, what the fuck? And I absolutely love the armor, because it's the armor of Altair, but it's black. So Altair had master armor that apparently he passed it down to people in Italy. So, yeah. But then again, his bloodline does eventually find its way from Jerusalem to Italy. And then from Italy to England. And then from England to the United States, or to the colonial America. So yes, Haytham Kenway is related to Ezio Auditore di Firenze, who is also related distantly to Altair. Now, Ezio does not know that Altair is his ancestor, but he does know that that the order was reshaped by Altair ibn Lahad. And the wonderful thing about all of these games is that they keep it central to an event that is going to happen. The world is essentially going to end December 21st, 2012. 12/21/12. 1/2/21/12. And it all leads up to that final moment at the end of the third game, or of Assassin's Creed 3, rather, where Desmond sacrifices his life to release Juno, who later on is defeated in a later game by the assassins and the Templars coming together. Now, the later games are all well and good. I have seen Rogue. I have seen the later on Unity. I've also seen Black Flag storylines. I didn't go anywhere beyond those because I felt that they were less important. I mean, sure, Black Flag explains Edward Kenway, and then you see Unity taking place right after Rogue, but Rogue is basically about an assassin who becomes a Templar. So we are seeing these, you get the Assassin's Creed storylines of the Life of Desmond Miles, but then you later get the Templar storylines, and then back to Assassins with what's his name in the French one, Unity. Arno, I believe his name was. Those games are all well and good, but there's no overlying stakes. Where in the Desmond Miles games, you have a reason why you are delving into these memories. You are trying to figure out something about a cataclysmic event that is going to happen. And so, well, yeah, you need to help prevent the cataclysmic event. So that is why I like these Assassin's Creed games here. These ones, 1, 2, Brotherhood, Revelations, and 3, because the Life of Desmond Miles in video game format, you have that compressed and consistent story. Black Flag, Unity, Rogue, Syndicate, and all of them, as well as later on the Viking one and the I'm guessing the Egyptian one and the Odyssey one. What are the reasons for those ones? I mean, is there something going on in the future that requires the world needing to be saved? Why somebody is delving into memories of these old times? No. These ones, I feel, were soulish cash grabs. That's what I think. I believe that they were soulless cash grabs. Where the Assassin's Creed ones with Altair, Ezio, and Connor Kenway, they had a story that had a bigger story, but incorporated the past in order to save the future. And they did it in a brilliant way. Now, there was another one in here. Subject 16, which he was a cautionary tale of the bleeding effect, where his mind got trapped in the animus even though his body died, because they Abstergo, which was the Templar Order in modern day, basically kept him in the animus for too long, and so his mind separated from his body permanently. And also, what was it? Was it the end of Revelations, or was it the end of whatchamacallit? I just had a bit in my head that I was remembering, but it just left my head just as quick. Sorry about that, folks. I sometimes have that happen. So I'm like literally, oh, right. I wish I had one of him up on the overlay, but there is a character in Assassin's Creed 2. His name is Mario Auditore. And no joke, he when Ezio meets his uncle's like, Ezio, do you not remember me? It's me, Mario. And I'm like, did they just seriously do that? So I was playing the game when I was actually playing Assassin's Creed 2 and whatnot, and I'm thinking to myself, did that just seriously happen? I mean, seriously, did that just seriously? I was laughing at like 3 a.m. in the morning because I got so stuck into the game that I just kept on playing it and playing it and playing it, and it's like, oh my god, I was laughing at like 3 a.m. in the morning, and I pissed off my brother because he had to go to work later on. It's like, dude, go to bed, And I'm like, oh my god, yeah, holy shit, I lost track of time. That's why I don't play games any longer, folks. It became an addiction to me, and I would stay up at all hours of the night and just play through. And well, yeah, it's not good, you know. But yeah, that bit there. But them also incorporating Rodrigo Borgia, who was literally the Pope of the Catholic Church, and then basically dies and is succeeded by his son Cesare Borgia. These are all historical figures. Now, they don't all do the same, or it's not all accurate stuff. I mean, Charles Lee wasn't this historically racist piece of shit that they paint in the third game in Assassin's Creed 3. Charles Lee was very much an arrogant prick of one of Washington's generals. But them having him as the main villain after Haytham Kenway was interesting. I mean, I do like how Connor and him are basically dying at the end of the game, or just like really fucking hurt. Connor just had a freaking building fall on him, and Charles Lee was shot, or gut shot, and slowly dying. But then you see them just grunting at each other, sitting at a bar table, and then freaking Connor just grabs him and jams a knife into him, finally ending his life. And it's like, gotta give it to you, man. You are fucking determined. I'll give you that. But yeah, later on, years would pass later, and I would have this thing made, the Assassin's Creed logo on a big old fucking what do you call these? Well, it's a big ass ring. Insignia ring. And it fits on my middle finger too, so yeah. Hey, Matt Cat, good to see you. Hey, brother. Can I just say I'm obsessed with that wall shelf behind you? Yeah. Well, that one there. Yeah, it's a mirrored one. It's wood. I'm actually thinking about putting a couple things up there, you know, give it a little bit of decoration. I got a yo-yo and a little art painting thing up there. I might put my, you know what, folks? I'm going to give you a treat. I'm going to put my holocron up there. You know, that one. You know, let's decorate, shall we? Why not? So, yeah. There. A little bit of decoration can go a long way. And if it fits, which it does, yeah, why not? Holy Grail can go up there too. There you go. So there's some decorations in the background now. What are we drinking? I have a coffee that I'm drinking. George Washington was dope, yeah. Yeah, that's the thing is, folks, in the Assassin's Creed 3 game, George Washington is basically made to be inept and a jackass. I mean, yes, it was good seeing him in the game. They captured his likeness very well, but it's like, are you serious right now? I'm not versed on everything George Washington, but something tells me he didn't. Oh, you never seen the Headless Horseman show? It was interesting. I'll give you that. It was definitely interesting. But also, they have the fucking Declaration of Independence being signed in 1775 in this game. And I'm thinking to myself, why? I don't think it's going to take a year to get to England, because the Declaration of Independence was signed by all of the 53 people, or 55 people, or signatories in July 4th, 1776, which was the official Declaration of Independence, which also the Revolutionary War was kicked off. So yes, never get your history from Hollywood. How accurate is the live action movie starring Michael Fassbender? It is based on an entirely different character. Yeah, it's based on Aguilar, an assassin from the Spanish Inquisition, played by Michael Fassbender, who also plays his ancestor, who met Christopher Columbus. So yeah. So this was around the same time as the Spanish Inquisition, which I do believe was the time of Ezio, while shit was going down in England. Or when was the Spanish Inquisition? Yeah, 1478 to, or when they started their shit. So that's also during the time of Ezio's years, or of Ezio's life, because Ezio died in like 1500 or 1500s, like 11, I believe. What year did Ezio die? Year did Ezio die? 1524. So yeah, Ezio was born. Or what year? What? Ezio born? 1459. Date of birth to 1524. So yeah, 65, or he lived for 65 years. Is it cold in the Adirondacks today? Yes, it is extremely cold. It is like 4 or it's like 3 degrees right now, and it's getting to -6 tonight. Doesn't he have like a pet owl or something? Ezio? No, he never had a pet owl, as far as I know of. Exactly what is the Assassin's Creed? Is it like always get the job done or no man left behind? Well, I'll actually show you that. The Assassin's Creed is where other men blindly follow the truth. Always remember nothing is true. Everything, or where other men are limited by morality or law. Always remember that everything is permitted. So, yeah, that is the Assassin's Creed. But their rules are you do not kill innocents, you stay hidden, and you never compromise brotherhood. So those are, or that's the Assassin's Creed. We serve in, or we live in the shadows in order to serve the light. We are assassins. That's how you finish the declaration of your loyalty. And then you go out and you do a leap of faith, which is also known as the eagle, or you take flight, so to speak. Very symbolic. Now, again, folks, I would not be shocked if Christians absolutely, or if hardcore Christians absolutely hated these games, because it does not paint the church or any Christ oriented church in any positive light. You had one of the most corrupt popes, Rodrigo Borgia, as an enemy, or as the main antagonist in the Ezio trilogy's first installment. Then you had Cesare Borgia, his son, as the corrupt asshole in the second one. And then in the third one, you still have them, but they're known as Byzantines. The Templars are the Byzantines in Constantinople. And they had also taken over Masyaf because they were trying to get into Altair's vault. But then you also have the Templars, who are actually still secretly, they're known as the Knights Templar then. which are also Freemasons. Never get your history from Hollywood folks. That's important. I'm going to keep saying that throughout this stream. But yeah, folks, if you were paying attention Friday, you'd notice that drinking this is kind of familiar. And yes, it was also coffee back then too. I kind of it went down the wrong pipe, and I kind of really did not make myself very appealing for Orange Hat Uncensored. Well, there you go, uncensored. I was actually trying to stop my cam so I didn't make a mess, or so I didn't show everything, but unfortunately it didn't work. Holy crap, I don't think or did I put it up here? Did I put it up here? Did I put it up here? No, I did not. I will get rid of that one though. And then I do have one more overlay that I put up here. Oh my God, I can't believe I forgot to do that. But getting back to Assassin's Creed, let's see here, FFF 15. There we go. And there we go. But yes, getting back to Assassin's Creed, I love the video games. The story is the most compelling bit about it, especially the quotes from Altair, or not Altair, but Ezio to Desmond, as well as his wife Sophia. Now, there is the resolution of his character from Assassin's Creed Embers, where it shows the last days of Ezio Auditore, where I believe he was in Tuscany when a small Templar faction followed a Chinese assassin and went after her and ended up coming across him. He was done with the assassins by then. The end of Revelations, Ezio had given up being an assassin. He had left the order to others to take over. When he takes off his gauntlets and draws his sword only to drop it, that is symbolic to him finally leaving the Assassin's Order so that he could be with Sophia and live the rest of his life. And when the Embers one, after he helps her, he goes into Florence, and he has a heart attack and dies. Now, there's a person that talks to him on a bench, and nobody knows who that person was, but there's speculation that the person that talked to him was him having an hallucination of talking to himself. And I was thinking, and I just felt it's like, it shouldn't have ended that way. Ezio should have died peacefully, surrounded by family and loved ones. I believe that would have been a better ending to Ezio Auditore di Firenze, where Altair died to preserve the knowledge of, or for future generations. I believe Ezio should have at least had a peaceful ending instead of a painful heart attack that killed him. Because it just was really sad to see. And Connor Kenway, the ending of that, which shows him going back to his tribe, or at least leaving the Assassin's Order behind now that he had fulfilled his purpose. He was aware, but completely unaware of his purpose. He was told by Juno that his life, his sacrifices, were all meant for something greater to happen in the future. So essentially, his life had very little meaning to himself, but had great meaning to what would happen in the future. Imagine being told that by a very advanced race, where your life means absolutely nothing to the here and now, but will play a greater role in the future. I gotta say, man, that was it was absolute bonkers. You know, because when you're told something like that, it just makes you wonder, what the fuck did I even live for? But these stories, they were well done. They were played in a way that I believe was true to a more overarching story. Thank you for sharing, Soul Assassin. The Life of Desmond Miles, where he or due to the fact that in 2012 the world was going to end, stuff like that, they actually pulled that in, and it was the sun that was basically going to cook the planet by releasing multiple solar flares to weaken the planet's own, essentially, shield, its ozone layer and whatnot. And well, yeah, Desmond would then release Juno, which gave him a chance to or gave everyone else a chance to live with Desmond's death. And Juno would be released out into the world, not physically, but sort of spiritually. And it took the Assassins and the Templars coming together to stop her, which was also something that's beyond the scope of what I am discussing here. But yeah, when compared to all the other Assassin's Creed games like Unity, Rogue, and Black Flag, Odyssey, and Valhalla, I believe that those games got away from the initial Assassin's Creed storylines, essentially. Because if you think about it, I believe Assassin's Creed Valhalla takes place around what, 1055? And yet they're saying, well, this guy was the beginning of the Templar Order, or created the Templars. And I'm thinking to myself, the Templars already existed. So let me actually look up when Assassin's Creed Valhalla takes place. When does Assassin's Creed Valhalla take place? Okay, so 872 to 878. Oh, I was wrong. Okay. So, yes. Okay, so there is a possibility that the Templar Order could rise from that time period. So yes, I do admit that I might have been in error with there. Cute. But when it comes to all the other ones, it's like, what is the purpose of these games? What is the purpose? What or why are they going back in time? What purpose do they serve? I mean, you just had the Desmond Miles ancestry work to help save the world from annihilation. Where do the other games fit into anything like that, or to that magnitude? Honestly, that is why I prefer this more compacted storyline from Altair to Connor Kenway, or to Ezio to Connor, the Life of Desmond Miles. Because at least you had something that you were working toward in that story. And that is why it's one of my favorite stories. Anyway, that is going to be the end of the stream, folks. Yes, I know I got a little bit repetitive. Next week, stay tuned, because I'm going to be talking my favorite storylines of the Old Republic game. So yes, SWTOR is going to be up for next week. Tonight on the Barroom Podcast, me, Jake, and others on Society Reviews channel, we're going to be talking a little bit about the Hollywood stuff and a little bit about the Super Bowl halftime show stuff. and a few other things. Wednesday night, me and Mara are going to be talking John Wick on her channel, Jade Shadow, 8 p.m. On X, Thursday, 8 p.m., we're going to be talking The Punisher from 2004, the Thomas Jane, John Travolta one. And then Friday is Orange Hat Uncensored. And then the following week is John Wick Chapter 2, and Thursday will be Law Abiding Citizen. So thank you to everybody who tuned in. Matt Cat, Matt Cat, let's see here, Vanya, Conroy, and all the people are Jess Johnson, channel 324 Desert. Thank you all for tuning in. Stay tuned for videos that I might get out later this week. I have no idea. Depends on if there is anything real worth reporting individually. The weekly recap will be on Sunday. We lost a panelist due to odd circumstances. Not dead or anything. They just moved on. So it's now me and Ambassador, and possibly Novus when he can make it in. Kate moved on. So yeah. Anyway, folks, thank you all so much for tuning in. Y'all have a wonderful day, and always remember to stay humble. Peace.
Are you done? Are you done?